Gautam Adani's story starts unremarkably. He was born in 1962, just another face in the bustling Indian state of Gujarat. His hometown Ahmedabad was known for textiles, not tycoons. Adani's family, though, had a modest business. They traded commodities. This early exposure to the world of buying and selling would shape the young Adani's path. Adani was restless. School held little appeal. He dropped out of college. He craved the energy of the marketplace. He set his sights on a place synonymous with opportunity Bombay. The city, a chaotic mix of ambition and poverty, didn't faze him. It was a stark contrast to his upbringing. But Adani was here with a purpose to make his fortune. His ticket to this world? Diamonds. Diamonds, in 1980s Bombay, meant one thing: money. The city was a magnet for those who sought fortune, and the Diamond District was its glittering heart. The trade was opaque, built on trust and intuition. Deals were made with a handshake, and fortunes could change in an instant. Adani, young and eager, learned its rhythms. He was a quick study, absorbing the nuances of the trade like a sponge. He started as a sorter, his fingers developing an uncanny ability to distinguish quality and value. Each stone told a story, and Adani was becoming fluent in their language. The diamond market was volatile. Prices could soar or plummet overnight, driven by forces beyond anyone's control. Fortunes were made and lost on a single deal, but Adani thrived. He had a knack for sensing the market's pulse, making shrewd decisions that others hesitated to take. He possessed an almost preternatural sense for pricing and risk. His network grew. He built relationships with traders, brokers, and buyers, each connection a thread in his growing web of influence. He wasn't just sorting diamonds, he was trading them. He moved from the back rooms to the forefront, negotiating deals that others only dreamed of. By his mid-20s, Adani had tasted success. He had carved out a name for himself in the competitive world of diamonds, but he yearned for something more. The glitter and glamour of the diamond trade were not enough to satisfy his ambitions. The world of diamonds was insular. It was a tight-knit community, resistant to change and wary of outsiders. Adani saw an opportunity back home in Gujarat. The state was ripe for development, and he envisioned a future where he could make a significant impact. The state was on the cusp of an economic boom. Infrastructure projects were taking off, and industries were beginning to flourish. He packed his bags, leaving behind the glittering world of diamonds for the dusty plains of his youth. It was a bold move, but Adani was never one to shy away from a challenge. In 1988, Adani founded Adani Enterprises. It was a humble start. The company, based out of Ahmedabad, initially focused on importing and exporting plastics. Adani, however, had bigger ambitions. He saw a gap in the market. Gujarat, with its long coastline, lacked a world-class port. At the time, Indian businesses relied on government-run ports. These were notoriously inefficient, plagued by bureaucracy and delays. Adani sensed an opportunity. He envisioned a private port, run with the efficiency of a well-oiled machine. It was a bold vision, one that would pit him against entrenched interests. But Adani had never been one to shy away from a challenge. The turning point came in 1995. Adani secured the rights to develop Mundra Port. It was a desolate stretch of coastline in Gujarat, but Adani saw its potential. He poured his resources into the project. Dredging began. Jetties were constructed. Slowly, Mundra transformed. Mundra wasn't just a port, it was a statement. It was a testament to Adani's vision and his ability to navigate India's complex regulatory landscape. The port quickly became a hub for cargo traffic. Ships, laden with goods from around the world, lined up at its docks. Adani, the former diamond sorter, was now a port tycoon. But Adani wasn't finished. He saw Mundra as a stepping stone. His ambitions extended far beyond the shipping lanes of the Arabian Sea. He was building an empire. Section 5. An empire of coal and cargo. With Mundra as his crown jewel, Adani embarked on a breathtaking expansion. He diversified into a dizzying array of sectors: coal, power generation, mining, logistics, agribusiness. Adani's empire grew at a breakneck pace. He was amassing companies like a child collecting seashells. Adani's critics saw a different story unfolding. They pointed to his close ties to the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, or BJP. They alleged crony capitalism, accusing Adani of benefiting from his political connections. Environmental groups raised alarms about his coal-fired power plants, their smokestacks spewing pollution into the Indian sky. Adani, however, remained undeterred. He brushed aside the criticism, his eyes fixed on the horizon. Section 6. A green pivot? As the world woke up to the harsh and undeniable realities of climate change, Adani made a surprising and bold move that caught many off guard. He announced a massive investment in renewable energy, signaling a potential shift in his business strategy. Solar farms began to sprout across India, their gleaming panels soaking up the abundant sunlight, transforming the landscape. Adani pledged to make his conglomerate a green energy giant, a promise that was met with both applause and skepticism. Skeptics scoffed, seeing it as a cynical ploy, a strategic move to appease investors and burnish his public image. They pointed out that Adani was still heavily invested in fossil fuels, with significant stakes in coal and oil. Critics argued that his commitment to sustainability was paper-thin, a facade to distract from his ongoing environmental impact. Adani, however, insisted he was sincere in his intentions. He spoke passionately about a future powered by renewable energy. He envisioned a world where the sun and the wind would be the primary sources of power, reducing reliance on fossil fuels. To back up his words, he set an ambitious target: to become the world's largest renewable energy producer, a goal that would require immense effort and innovation. Whether driven by genuine conviction or calculated opportunism, Adani's green pivot was undeniably a sign of the times, reflecting the global shift towards sustainability. The Tycoon was adapting, repositioning himself and his empire for a future that looked very different from his past, embracing the winds of change. Section 7. Whispers of doubt. Despite his pronouncements on green energy, doubts lingered. Adani's empire, built on a foundation of coal and cargo, was facing increased scrutiny. His debt levels were soaring, raising concerns about the group's financial health. The whispers grew louder in 2023. A small New York-based firm called Hindenburg Research released a scathing report. It accused the Adani Group of accounting fraud, stock manipulation, and money laundering. The report sent shockwaves through the Indian stock market. Adani's companies, once darlings of the market, saw their share prices plummet. Adani vehemently denied the allegations. He called the report a calculated attack on India and threatened legal action. The damage, however, was done. The Hindenburg report had pierced the aura of invincibility that had long surrounded Gautam Adani. Section 8. The walls close in. The year 2024 brought fresh turmoil. It was a year marked by unprecedented events that shook the very foundations of the global business community. News broke of a U.S. indictment against Adani, his nephew, and 6 others. The charges were not just a minor infraction. They were a full-blown scandal that captured the world's attention. The charges were serious: bribery, fraud, and obstruction of justice. These were not just allegations. They were accusations that could lead to severe legal consequences. The U.S. Department of Justice accused them of orchestrating a massive scheme to secure lucrative contracts in India. This scheme was allegedly designed to manipulate the market and gain an unfair advantage over competitors. The indictment sent shockwaves that reverberated far beyond the world of finance. Investors panicked, markets tumbled, and the ripple effects were felt across the globe. It was a stunning fall from grace for a man who had once been hailed as a champion of Indian enterprise. Gautam Adani, who had built an empire from the ground up, now faced the possibility of losing it all. Adani's carefully constructed image lay in tatters. The brand that once symbolized success and innovation was now synonymous with scandal and deceit. The allegations, if proven true, threatened to unravel his empire. The very foundation of his business was at risk, and the future looked increasingly uncertain. Adani, once a fixture in business conferences and Davos panels, retreated from public view. His absence was conspicuous, and it only fueled further speculation and rumors. His legal team mounted a vigorous defense, but the damage was done. The court of public opinion had already passed its judgment, and it was unforgiving. The indictment cast a long shadow over his future, leaving his legacy hanging in the balance. The once unassailable titan of industry now faced a battle for his very survival, both in the courtroom and in the public eye. Section 9. A Tarnished Legacy. Today, Gautam Adani's story is a cautionary tale. It's a story of ambition, ruthlessness, and the perils of unchecked power. It's a story that raises uncomfortable questions about the nexus of business and politics in India. Adani's philanthropic endeavors, once touted as evidence of his generosity, are now viewed with cynicism by some. His vast fortune, amassed over decades, is tainted by allegations of wrongdoing. The man who built an empire on the promise of progress now finds himself battling to salvage his reputation. Whether Adani will be remembered as a visionary entrepreneur or a ruthless tycoon is still an open question. One thing, however, is certain. His story, a microcosm of India's economic rise, is far from over.